Hey guys, in this video we're gonna learn about lambda functions in C++. A lambda function is an anonymous function, that is a function that doesn't have a name. So it is basically a function without a name. So if you want to have little functionality in your program, but for that little functionality you don't want to introduce another function so that you will include another name in your namespace, so you don't want actually to pollute your namespace, you can actually go with lambda function. You can assign the lambda function to a variable just like a normal value. You can pass lambda function to another function just like a normal parameter. So let's see how a lambda function looks like. As you can see from this line, this is what a lambda function looks like. First you have the capture list, wrap it inside square brackets, followed by the parameter list, followed by this arrow sign, and followed by the return type of the lambda function, finally the function body. So let's use a simple lambda function that will simply print something on screen. So first we have to include these square brackets. Let's keep it empty for now, followed by the parameter list, keep it empty as well, followed by the this arrow sign, followed by the return type. Let's keep it white for now. Finally we have the function body, so let me put cout hello world here. So we have this lambda function defined here. We can immediately call it by simply calling it here. So if we run it, hello world. Alright, now what we can do is we can, instead of calling it right here, we can assign it to a variable just like a normal value. So let me name the variable func. So we have assigned this lambda function to func variable. Now to be able to call this function, we can simply use this func variable just like a normal function name. So if we run it, hello world again. Alright, now what we can do is, instead of mentioning this return type here, we can actually get rid of this and this arrow sign as well. So now C++ compiler will automatically deduce what the return type of this function will be, which in this case will be white. So if we run it, so we have similar results. Alright, now we can even get rid of this parameter list because we are not passing any parameter to it. So we can, if we run it, hello world again. Alright, now what we can do is for example, if we have a variable x with the value 100 here and one other variable y with the value 200, now if we try to use x here and run the program, we will get an error, and what the error says is that x is not actually captured. So to be able to actually use our variables or objects from the surrounding context of a lambda function, we have to capture those variables. So to use x in the lambda function, we have to capture x. So we are capturing x here. Now if we run it, 100, so that's what the value of x is. So now for example we want to use y as well. Let me put end line here and y here. So we have to capture y as well. So now if we run it, 100 to 100. Alright, now for example, if we want to, now instead of actually explicitly mention every variable in this capture list, we can actually simply introduce an equal sign here, and that simply signifies that we are actually capturing everything from the surrounding context. So that should do the job. Okay, now for example, if we try to manipulate the value of y, so if we put y up here, let's increase the value of y by 100. Now if we run it, we will actually get an error, and what the error say is assignment of read-only variable y. The error is because we are actually manipulating value of y, So but we are capturing y here by value. So to be able to manipulate value of y, we should actually capture y by a reference rather than by value. So we simply have to capture y by reference ampersand y, and for x we are not manipulating x, so we can capture y by x by value. So now if we run it, so 100 and 300, because we are increasing y by 100. Alright, so this is how it works. Now for example, if we want to capture everything by reference, we can simply include ampersand symbol, and now we can even change value of y because we are capturing everything by reference. Let's increase this value by 100 as well, and if we run it, we should get 200 and 300. Alright, for example, if we want to capture everything by, let's have another variable here, let me name it z. Z has the value of 300. Now if we want to, let me include z here as well. Now if we want to change value of x and y, but we don't want to change value of z, so in that case we have to capture x and y by reference. So ampersand will do the job, but it will capture z by reference as well, but we don't want to do that, so we simply have to explicitly include z to signify that we are capturing z by value. So now this implies that we are capturing everything by reference apart from z. So if we run it, 200, 300 and 300. Alright, now for example, if we do not want to change the value of y and z, but we want to change the value of z, so if we try to increase z by 100, so in that case we have to capture z by reference, so rest by value. So you have to mention equal sign here, so we are capturing everything by value apart from z. So if we run it, 100, 200 and 400. Alright, so this is how it works, and this is what a lambda function is. Let's see how we can pass lambda function as a parameter to another function. So for that, let me get rid of this thing. Let's have a vector here, vector of integers with values 100, 10 and 30. Now what we actually want is that we want for each value of the vector, we want to actually execute a lambda function. So we will have another function here somewhat like this. So for example, if we want to have a template function here, type name, let me name it func, so we will actually pass it a lambda function. So let's have return type white, let me name function simply f. Now what we actually do is we will pass this template function a vector, this v actually, and a lambda function. So this function f will actually invoke that callback function, the lambda function, for each value of the vector. So we will pass it a, let me put constant here, constant vector, vector of integers, let me pass it by reference, pass a reference of vector to it, and then we want to pass it the lambda function, and let me name it simply func. So now what we can do is, so now we have this function. Let me go here, and so now we actually, what we want is for each value of this vector we want to execute the lambda function. So what we will actually pass to this template function. So we can use a for loop. So integer element from the vector. So this loop will go through all the elements in the vector. Now for each element we will actually call the lambda function. So we have passed that function here, so func, and we will pass this element to the lambda function. So this loop will actually go through all the elements in the vector, and for each element it will invoke the lambda function func. So we actually have to invoke this function now from here. So what we can do is we'll simply invoke f. Now the first parameter is vector, which in this case is v, and now the second parameter is actually lambda function. So we have to define a lambda function here, or what we can do is we can define lambda function here somewhere, assign it to a variable, and just pause that variable here. So let's define it here as here simply. So we are not capturing anything here, so we have to keep it empty, this thing. So we will actually pass the lambda function the integer, which is actually the element of vector. So integer x, and then we have the function body. So inside the function body what we can do is let's simply print the values of vector. So whatever x has, we will simply print x. So now we are calling f from here, passing it the vector and the lambda function. The lambda function simply will take an integer value and print that value. So let's run it. So as you can see, we got the values. Let me put end line actually here to get in order. So as you can see, 100, 10 and 30, and these are the values of vector actually. So this is what a lambda function can be. This is how we can pass lambda function as parameter to another function. So I hope this tutorial will help you in understanding the usage of lambda functions. Thank you.